Every year, my small town has this tradition of celebrating Independence Day with a grand firework display. The excitement, the colors bursting in the night sky. It was always the highlight of the summer, until the year it wasn't. The rockets had started their usual ascent into the dark canvas of the night, transforming it into a spectacle of bright, dancing colors. Then, something went wrong. A rocket that should have burst into sparks above our heads spiraled sideways into the crowd. Panic ensued. The explosion turned our town square into a scene from a nightmare. I remember the screams, the confusion, the fear painted on the faces of people I'd known all my life. The imagery of that night still haunts my dreams. I managed to escape, but the sounds, the sights, they've forever changed the way I experience Independence Day. The day of celebration now feels like an anniversary of that terror-filled night. I've always been fascinated by history. So, visiting the local Revolutionary War site was a special way for me to honor Independence Day. Little did I know, it would become a day I'd never forget. As dusk fell, a fog swept over the battlefield, wrapping the monuments and statues in a ghostly veil. That's when I heard it, the unmistakable sound of drums and fifths playing an old military tune. Emerging from the fog were figures dressed in colonial uniforms, their faces gaunt and sorrowful. They were there, and yet not there. Fear gripped me, but I couldn't move, caught in this spectral reenactment of a battle long past. Then one of them looked at me. His eyes bore into mine, a silent plea echoing from his pale, bloodied face. Then they vanished, swallowed by the fog. I was alone again, the chill of the mist, the only reminder of what I'd seen. I've never gone back to the battlefield, but every Independence Day, I remember that soldier's haunting gaze, his silent plea that echoed through the centuries. Independence Day parades were always a favorite of mine. The floats, the music, the shared sense of community. It felt like the essence of our small town. But one year, it turned into something I could never have imagined. It started like any other parade, but after a while, I noticed something strange. The same float, the same band, the same faces. They were passing me again and again. The parade was repeating itself. The realization hit me like a ton of bricks. No matter how much I tried, I couldn't leave. The crowd around me didn't seem to notice, their laughter and cheers unchanged. A feeling of helplessness overcame me. It felt like being trapped in a nightmare that you know is a dream but can't wake up from. Even now, every Independence Day reminds me of that endless loop, a memory of the parade that never ended. Every year, our town holds a grand parade for Independence Day. I've always been enthralled by the energy and joy of the celebration, the sense of unity it fosters among us townsfolk. But one particular year, my experience was far from the usual fun and frolic. As the parade was winding down, something shiny caught my eye. It was a small, intricately designed pendant lying unclaimed on the parade route. Drawn to its odd charm, I picked it up, deciding to find its owner later. That night, as I settled into bed, I placed the pendant on my nightstand, the strange allure of the object still fresh in my mind. But as the hours ticked away, I felt a growing unease. It began with whispers, faint but persistent, like a far-off conversation carried in by the wind. The whispering gradually grew louder, more insistent, the words too distorted to decipher. I looked around, trying to locate the source, but my room was empty. A sense of dread washed over me as I noticed the pendant gleaming eerily under the moonlight filtering in through the window. Then came the footsteps, the sound of someone pacing back and forth. I could feel the presence of someone in the room, a cold chill in the air, the whispers, the footsteps. It was all coming from the pendant. My heart pounded in my chest as I quickly wrapped it in a cloth and locked it in a drawer. The next morning, I returned the pendant to the parade grounds, leaving it where I found it. The strange occurrences stopped, but the fear lingers. Every Independence Day, as I watch the parade, I'm reminded of that chilling night, of the whispers, the steps, and the forgotten trinket. Remember, not all that glitters is gold, and not all that's lost should be found. Thanks for joining our chilling Independence Day journey. If you've been spooked and crave more, hit subscribe and turn notifications. Share the scare and pass this video on to your friends. Your next fright awaits.